An excuse for this meeting. I'll start with the land acknowledgement. We would like to acknowledge that we gather on the ancestral homelands of the Coast Salish peoples, specifically the Nooksack tribe, who have lived in the Salish Sea Basin throughout the San Juan Islands and North Cascades watershed from time immemorial. On behalf of everyone here, we want to express our deepest respect and gratitude for our Indigenous neighbors, the Nooksack tribe, for their enduring care and protection of our shared lands and waterways. Next. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of agenda. Any changes to the agenda is written?
No.
If no changes, I entertain a motion to approve the agenda as written.
Motion to approve the agenda is written.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Staff recognition.
Do we have a member of the Masonic Lodge here? Wasn't sure. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and do it. A couple months ago, we were contacted by the Masonic Lodge in Whatcom County, and I think they're based in Linden and Ferndale. And they've done an Educator of the Year award for a number of years, and for different districts. And so now they're including all the districts in Whatcom County, and they asked Mount Baker to participate. And so we asked staff to make some nominations. We had about 10 nominations. And I am really proud to announce that Miss Leticia Gelhart is Teacher of the Year for the Mount Baker. This award, go ahead. You can stand up. This award comes with, and if the Masonic Lodge folks do come, I apologize here because I was really looking forward to handing you your plaque and a check for $2,000. It's quite significant.
Yes.
Mr. Durand had wanted to be here, and so he's out of town, and so he asked me to read poems about it.
Thank you.
Miss Leticia Geldart is an exceptional educator and a truly deserving recipient of the Mount Baker School District Educator of the Year Award from the Masonic Lodge. As a teacher at Mount Baker High School for the past 19 years, she exemplifies what it means to go above and beyond in service of students. It is not uncommon to find her as the first to arrive in the morning, like 4:30 a.m. usually, and the last to leave in the evening. Her commitment is driven by a genuine passion for helping students grow, succeed, and find their voice. Ms. Geldart's impact spans multiple grade levels, disciplines, as she skillfully teaches drama along with sophomore and senior English. Her classrooms are engaging spaces where students are encouraged to think critically, collaborate, and express themselves with confidence. She consistently designs innovative lessons and creative projects with real-world skills they will carry far beyond high school. Whether it is through performance, writing, or discussion, she challenges students to stretch their thinking and take ownership of their learning. Beyond the classroom, she is a steadfast presence in the lives of her students. She regularly stays after school to provide additional support, guidance, and encouragement. Her dedication extends into the school's culture as well. She can be counted on to attend dances. The dance this year, I didn't.
It did cost me my fibula.
Yes.
But I was at the prom, so there we go.
Okay. Dances, performances, and events, building strong connections and showing students that their experiences matter. Additionally, she is constantly seeking new ideas and opportunities to enhance student engagement. Ms. Geldart embodies the spirit of an outstanding educator. Her tireless work ethic, creativity, and unwavering commitment to students make a lasting impact on the Mount Baker community. She not only teaches content, she inspires confidence, fosters belonging, and helps shape the future of every student she serves. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well deserved.
Oh, thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you so
So if we could get like the board to come around, we will.
on this. That is so, thank you. That is just so amazing.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Next is good of the order.
For good of the order, I just have one quick thing. As many of you saw on Facebook and in our district newsletter, Acme Elementary was recognized by the Washington School Recognition Program for student performance. Only 16% of our schools across the state received one of these awards. Acme's was given for growth, and growth is, they don't really give us exactly all the metrics for what that means, but it is across multiple measures. So not only academics, but attendance and other areas. And so they have a banner that they'll be putting up, and I'm just incredibly proud of the work that they did. This was based off of before I got here, so this was 24-25. I'm really confident that next year we've got 5 schools and we're going to have 5 banners next year. So we'll see.
Good. So next is information from student representatives. So that's you, Gabby.
That's just me. That's not a lot of information. What I will tell you guys is kind of what's happening with Lita, where she's at. It's really fun. So they're at Wazoo for the parliamentary procedure for FFA. They have red team, Mount Baker Red, that's Joseph BM, Willa Brown, Casey Pinkey, Hazel Grout, Lita Corrado, and Emerald Scott. And then they have the black team, which is Ruth Cranborn, Andrew Compton, Caleb Cooper, Mikkel Fairbanks, Raymond Kleinsmith, Ariana Wooden, Braden Farley, Fox Cripp. So they test on Friday, and then they do their presentation on Saturday. Their presentation is what you guys saw the last board meeting. And then Lita's prepared public speaking in FFA state competition with her Ag Monopoly speech. She made it into finals, top 8. Yeah, and then finals are on the 15th. And then the barbecue team at state convention, that's Ariana Wooden, Raymond Kleinsmith, Ethan, I'm gonna pronounce his name wrong, Tritz, maybe, Emery Walsham. They have a competition, they barbecue and they have people try it. It's really fun. So that's where Lita is right now. And I honestly think that's it.
And your survey closes tomorrow,
My
right?
survey closes tomorrow. Yes, it does. The 15th, well, yeah, survey closes tomorrow. And then on the 28th, we'll come back to you with kind of all the survey information that we got. And we can talk
This
about
is
the
on
phone
cell
policy.
phone?
Yes, it is on the phone
Policy?
policy.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I personally was so impressed with both the parliamentary procedure team here and particularly Lita's prepared speech. I was blown away by that personally, and I'm not at all surprised she's in the final top 8, and I look for her to win state actually. So we'll be pulling for that. So, information from board. Normally we flip this, so it just happens to be we approved this agenda with information on board before the information public. So I'll follow the agenda. I'll start with you, Ed.
Sure. I think we talked a while back about some WIA amendments, and one had to do with private schools moving up a division, and that failed. So we'll keep we'll let them stay in our division for a little bit longer. Yeah. So, and Coach Lep's here, so maybe you can talk about that when he comes up at some point, but that's about it. Yeah.
Thank you. Anything else?
Nope.
Jason?
A couple things, just from the last time we met, we seen Kendall's presentation, which was great. The data they showed of the kids' success and learning is doing well up there, and we were able to go up on the Friday before and see what good things were happening up there. That was really good and a good time up there with them. And then last Friday was the Mount Baker night at Deming Speedway, and it was very well attended and a good time. And the races went a little late. That was a bummer, but everything else was really good and a good turnout with the community and all the kids and teachers and all that was really good. So thank you. And that's it.
Yeah.
I'll just add that the academic, and athletic night at the Speedway was really fun this year. I was there and there were a lot of great baskets at the raffle that people donated. And I'm excited to hear how much money you raised.
Yeah, we should hear soon, so.
Yeah, it's always impressive, and an enjoyable event. And then a couple of weeks ago, Brenna and Jason and I all attended the WASDA Regional Board of Directors meeting. And we basically had an evening where we got training on legislative advocacy, and how to better approach our legislative representatives with our priorities in hand. And this is the time of year, because the legislative session has wrapped, this is the time of year where we kind of are looking back and reflecting on how it went and starting to think about what our priorities are going to be for the coming legislative session. So just sort of want to put that out there. Russ, you're always on top of that and directing that, but that was really good, I think, for the three of us.
Yeah.
There were a couple of state representatives there at the meeting in attendance. And it was useful to hear from other Region 1 school districts about, you know, some of the things that they're doing. And one school district, I wrote it in my notes, and I can't remember off the top of my head now, they did joint board meetings periodically with a neighboring school district. And it helped them identify places of overlap and possibility for shared resources. For that particular district, I mean, they shared a city, so that helped.
Yeah.
But it got me thinking about ways that we might look to collaboration with other local school districts, as we're trying to get creative in how we run our schools. And I know that we do share support professionals, but, you know, getting to see the board level work of another district could be beneficial for us and for them. So that's the gist of that.
Thank you. Yeah, we have shared purchasing and other programs, some academic and especially programs for quite some time, but continuing to do that is looking for those efficiencies is always useful. So for me, I had Jessica and I both attended our most recent meeting with OSPI on our district's binding condition. Meeting I felt went very well. And I get the clear sense that OSPI feels confident in Mount Baker, that we're headed in the right direction, and we did, and that the pressures that are on our budget right now are primarily those pressures that are on every district in the state, from increased insurance costs, increased energy costs, and then in addition to that, I reminded OSPI that our state forest revenue is continuing to be impacted by actions taken by our Commissioner of Public Lands, and that's a particular burden on Mount Baker's budget. So I felt it was a very positive meeting, and I think they do have confidence in us. I also wanted to thank you, Jason, for the academic athletics night at the Speedway. I enjoyed that, and I told you I got sprayed with gravel with standing too close to the track, but that fell off eventually. So, but to do that for so many years now, and as a great benefit to our students financially, as well as, you know, with the announcers were announcing that this is academic and athletics night. over and over again. And so that the crowd kind of had that, okay, this is, we're supporting Mount Baker with our dollars tonight. So I think that was a real positive message too. So thank you so much for that. Next up is public comments, and I see Natalie signed up. So in your time, Natalie, welcome.
Thank you. Hello, thank you for listening to public comments. Student Rep Lita Corrado's speech at the last meeting inspired me to speak about farming this evening, which brings me to Bill Gates, unfortunately. A little background info first. Mr. Gates is a multi-billionaire college dropout who many people describe as a ruthless, monopolistic bully who was on trial for 18 months, beginning in May 1998 for Microsoft's antitrust violation. Bill Gates stated, quote, "I don't recall," unquote, numerous times at the trial, and he made claims that were directly refuted by his own emails, which basically showed that he was a liar. The trial was a disaster for Mr. Gates and Microsoft, and they took a public relations beating. However, between the beginning of the trial and the verdict, Mr. Gates contributed $20.3 billion to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And apparently, he also spent millions of dollars to rebrand himself and clean up his tarnished image. The mainstream media was more than happy to do that for him, and they were most likely paid very well to do that for him. Bill Gates is not only obsessed with vaccines and invests and profits millions of dollars from vaccines, he also happens to be the largest private owner of farmland in the United States. That being said, I recently heard Adam Chappell, a fourth-generation farmer from out of state, who said during an interview that Mr. Gates's farming management company had regenerative farmers move off of farmland in Mississippi that he bought to make room for conventional farmers. Adam also talked about how using glyphosate is the cheap, toxic way to control weeds, and that most farmers have to use it to stay competitive. He spoke about factory farming and big ag, and how big ag makes huge profits every quarter, wages media campaigns against farmers, and uses fear as a tool to keep farmers from changing to healthier practices. Adam said that more farmers would like to produce organic, nutrient-dense, healthier food, but it would squeeze farmers to death. And speaking of death, Adam said that there is a lot of stress for farmers, and unfortunately, suicides have been increasing in the farming community. There were also more farmers who filed bankruptcy Chapter 12 in 2025 than in past years combined. Adam said that priorities are screwed up, policies are not working, tariffs don't help anything. Actually, tariff costs are being absorbed by farmers, and fertilizer prices are increasing by around 70%. Yes, we need to support legislation that protects local farmers. However, I personally don't trust politicians much these days, neither Democrats or Republicans, nor three-letter agencies, especially when it comes to public health issues and for protecting our food supply and farms. There is regulatory capture, corruption, and too many lobbyists. Interestingly, Bill Gates has been heavily investing millions of dollars in lab-grown meat, cell cultures grown in bioreactors using immortalized cell lines that replicate forever, that basically behave just like cancer cells. Mr. Gates has bankrolled a few fake meat companies, including Beyond Meat, Impossible Foods, and Upside Foods, formerly called Memphis Meat. These companies use GMOs, chemical additives, and immortalized cell lines to create meat that has never existed in nature. The ingredient list is something that you'd find in a chemistry book, not a cookbook. Hopefully, communities with the youth at the forefront will come together to protect our food and local farmers and come up with some solutions and ideas that are outside of the box, especially outside of the Bill Gates' dystopian box. I don't think that many people will want to eat frankenfood that was grown in a lab. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And that now is the only one sign up. Anyone else here wish to? Yeah. Please state your name first.
My name is Linda Simpson. Good evening, everyone. I am here tonight to discuss the proposed cut of Kristen Lewis's job position. For those who haven't gotten a chance to meet Kristen, she is Mount Baker's amazing mental health support specialist. She is the most kind-hearted, amazing person anyone will ever encounter. With that being said, cutting this mental health counselor will directly harm the student body. This will likely include failing grades, decreased motivation, and a lower sense of well-being. According to the World Health Organization, approximately 1 in 5 teenagers, so about 20%, have a diagnosed mental, emotional, or behavioral disorder. I am part of that 20%, and that is my reason for being here tonight. Having that access to Miss Lawrence has made a real difference. Miss Lawrence has been the one person who has kept encouraging me, even when I was at a low point and felt like I had let everyone down with the poor choices I had made. She stood by my side and helped me stand back up on my feet. Without Miss Lawrence, absence rates will likely increase and teens' behavioral issues will worsen. According to PubMed, losing a mental health counselor as a teenager can cause intense grief, abandonment issues, and a setback in their mental health progress. According to Compass Health Center, approximately 54 to 60% of US teens with mental health needs do not receive the attention and help they need. These statistics show that cutting Ms. Lawrence's position would put more teens into the category of not receiving the needs and could reset tons of students' mental progress. I understand the financial issues the district has been going through, but still, I urge the district to reconsider this decision and find an alternative. And I am more than ready to help figure it out because us students cannot be academically successful if we are struggling mentally. We are not asking for something extra. We are asking you to protect someone already so essential to us. Thank you so much for hearing me out, and I hope we can all figure out how to keep Ms. Lawrence together. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. Anyone else? If not, next up is the consent agenda. I entertain a motion for the consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Superintendent informational items.
Yes, I have just two short items. Next week, we're meeting with Zervis Architects to go over some of the preliminary results from the study and survey that they've done of district facilities. And I've invited Russ to come to this as a board representative, and we would be able to have one additional board member attend if any of you are interested. This will be Tuesday from 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock. And if you are able, if you can let me know, I think it would be good to, if possible, to have another board member there to hear that information. And then the other kind of calendar item is that in July, we have July 23rd is for sure going to be one of our regular board meetings. July 10th is on the calendar as a board meeting, but we need to talk about whether or not we want to keep that as a regular board meeting or cancel that meeting so that we can have a longer retreat. We say retreat, it just means a long meeting during the day at some point in July. So wanted to know if, what I'll do is I'll send you all an email tomorrow, and if you can let me know what dates don't work for you in July, then I'll work around.
Thank you. So next up is Title VI education presentation. Yeah. Okay.
Hi, Russ. Good evening. Tonight, this is just a brief presentation on Title VI. We're going to do our formal process for the district here in just a second for open session. But I just wanted to give everybody a reminder of what Title VI is, why we're here tonight. So Title VI is part of the Indian Education Grant from 1972. And part of it, that grant allowed for access to, for school districts to access funds to support American Indian students in school districts throughout the country. And this title program is an important program for us. And this year we received funding that was above 40,000, which is an important number in terms of how we go about supporting our NUCSAC students and our American Indian students in district. This grant, it's tied to supporting the educational and cultural needs of NUCSAC and American Indian students. And we have 127 students identified this year. So that is slightly down from previous years. And that generates a funding amount of $41,000. As part of Title VI, when a school district receives $40,000 or more, we have to go through a process called tribal consultation. And that is something that's we completed actually on April 29th, I believe, just a few weeks ago. And we met with Teresa Washington, the NUCSAC education director, and walked through a process together, a formal process that I want to point out is important going forward, because this isn't just a stepwise procedure. This is an actual engagement in what we're doing together collaboratively moving forward as a district. And in that process, we were able to identify some priorities by the NUCSAC tribe. And in that meeting, which involved Jessica Shank and me and Kimberly Elms, along with Teresa Washington and her staff, we identified the importance of a need for a tribal liaison presence in our schools. So one of the things we'll be prioritizing with this money next year is to bring in a tribal liaison from the NUCSAC tribe to support our students directly and indirectly, be involved with the STI curriculum as well, as a consultant, connecting with our families, supporting engagement needs, and just working in all of our schools to support us as we support our NUCSAC students. That's a real quick summation of what we're doing. If you go onto our OSPI website, you'll see when you look at the number of American Indian students in our district, it'll say we have 59. And that's an accurate representation of students who have identified, or families who have identified as American Indian, but there's also 2 or more races under there. And so while we have 127 listed here, those are the ones who are identified as a federally recognized member of the NUCSAC tribe or another tribe recognized in the US. So I just want to point out that those numbers don't always match up if you go on the OSPI website. It's just important to note that this process through the 506 form that's completed for new families, and we track those, and that's what generates our funding going forward each and every school year. So, any questions about Title VI and the new tribal liaison that will be bringing on next year? Yes.
Do we anticipate changes then to some of the curriculum to include more NUCSAC history and culture?
That is part of the intent, without a doubt, to be able to focus on how we take the STI curriculum and apply it to the NUCSAC way of life and how we present it in our classrooms. Absolutely. Yeah.
The other question I had was, so far our public hearing for Title VI was just an opportunity to accept comments on the Title VI program, if I recall correctly.
That's correct. It's part of the bigger process. We have
Right.
an Indian parent committee, the IPC team, and that committee met on the 28th of April. And we have what we do in that process is we collaborate with NUCSAC Valley School District and the NUCSAC tribe. So we kind of do our 3 organizations together, and we have a president representing NUCSAC Valley and a president representing Mount Baker. And that helps line up parent voice in terms of what their concerns are. So we listen to those comments, and that IPC team has really started to band together now pretty strongly over the past 2 years. And we really kind of see momentum going with our 2 presidents being able to take the lead on that work. We really want our NUCSAC parents driving process to identify what our needs are for our NUCSAC students, not the district running that process, but parents having that voice. So we have the IPC team that meets regularly, and then we'll be doing tribal consultation throughout next school year as well as we move forward. And again, that tribal consultation piece is something new, as we've never had over 40,000 before. So it's a good thing, and the work that we're doing is pretty exciting. And I want to recognize Teresa Washington as well for her leadership with the Nooksack tribe. It's been very tangible, and that meeting that we were in was I left quite exhilarated actually regarding where we're headed in our collaboration. Yeah, it's a small amount of money, but it's important work. Yeah.
I think it's a great acknowledgement of things that we've been able to do this year.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Helping families find voice is really critical. Yep.
Any other questions?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is the public hearing for Title VI Indian education. So this is open to any member of the public who wish to make a comment on our.
Actually, the athletic presentation is next.
What's that?
The athletic presentation is next.
Oh, I'm sorry. I saw the two Title VI. Sorry, Ron. You're right. And I blended the two Title VI together. You're up next, Ron. Athletic presentation. Thank you very much for coming.
So just kind of, I was asked him to just kind of give a State of the Union of athletics at this point. Do you guys happen to get a copy of this?
I did want to.
No, that's all right.
Okay.
Okay, perfect.
I can put it up on the screen.
No.
Okay.
Perfect. So yeah, we're coming down to the end of the school year. Just kind of a recap, athletic wise, in the fall. Football teams that we advanced to the semifinals. We're the conference, 1A conference champions there. We had one runner, Henry Moreno Contreras, ran at the state cross country meet, and the volleyball team made the district tournament, and the boys soccer team. And then in the wintertime, we had basketball, both girls game, one moving on to the next level. Multiple state places for the wrestling teams, both boys and girls. And then now in the spring, we're coming to an end here. Softball lost last weekend in the Saturday in the district tournament there. Boys golf has one golfer, Peyton Avidia, who will be golfing next week at the state tournament. Carter Hill's an alternate. And then soccer finished out. And then we have track has day 2 of the district meet tomorrow at Living Christian. Top qualifiers from yesterday, and then tomorrow we'll go to the by district next week, and then the state track meet in Yakima will be, I want to say it's May 28, 29, and 30th. Then that'll end the high school season. Our junior high goes, season 4 is ending up. Their last track meet for junior high was today, the county meet for all the middle schools in the county, and then soccer and baseball are continuing on right now. And they have like 2 weeks left, and then we'll finish up the season there. Okay. Just a couple of numbers for you here. Participation rate. So at the high school this year, we had 118 boys, 92 girls that participated in athletics. Obviously, some of these kids are multiple sport athletes, but that's the raw number there. And then on the junior high side, we had 95 boys compete in athletics and 76 girls compete in there. So percentage wise, it's about where we've been. Just our enrollment's dropping a little bit, so but we're still not quite at the level we were pre-COVID. Okay. Funding and budgeting. We started starting this next year. The junior high sports teams will be having their own individual budget accounts like we do at the high school level. That'll start there. And then so that'll help out a little bit there, kind of help with from the general account. Okay, it's kind of help alleviate some of the pressure there. Just a reminder that the budget that the high school sports get is based on what we bring in from the gate, from the events that we charge at, and then that money is redistributed through all the sports. So it's just not basketball money doesn't just go to basketball, it goes to everybody. Last year we were pretty tight with that. Gonna release a little bit more this year is help out because we had that able to do that out of the gate account there. Fundraising obviously goes on. We're trying to be really conscious of not just bombarding all the time. Being here as long as I have, I just know that's one of the things that I have a hard time with. But so we're trying to go like maybe on every other year type of thing with kind of promote that with our sports. So we're just not hitting everybody every year, same time with that. Let's see, I got down here. So obviously out of the general athletic account, the biggest thing is transportation. Transportation costs continue to go up, and officiating the fees. We have not been able to do some of the things we've done in the past because of our limitations now with our budgeting. So we're trying to get creative and find some ways to kind of keep that stuff going, but it puts a little more on the athletes and the programs to try to get that stuff done. One of the things the school, if we have a sport that requires safety equipment, we try to provide that. So, for example, football helmets, shoulder pads, those are not inexpensive items that we gather. So, baseball would be, helmets, the batting helmets that they have to have. It's required to have those things. Okay. And then, one other thing I would mention about transportation, we all know we have, our bus driving pool is not as big as it used to be. So this year, multiple times, we had some coaches who are able to drive buses that drove the teams there, or we will get creative and send teams be dropped off, and then the buses will come back. And then because a lot of times parents will take their kids, especially to junior high level. And so a coach will fall in a support vehicle and bring back kids who don't have a ride, just so we're not having a bus driver sit there for a couple hours at an event. Trying to do that as much as we can. We've been creative with little slight impact on the instructional time, but usually we tried to stay away from junior high kids getting out of school early, but we've had to do that a little bit so that a bus driver can take the kids to their event and then go do a run out of, their elementary run, and then come back to the event to pick up kids if we need to do that. So just trying to be, we're trying to be really creative with that stuff there. Okay. And then just as Mr. Fox has mentioned, some amendments were passed this spring. The three big ones that kind of concern there, the private school one was that if you were over enrollment of 90 kids, then they'd have to bump up a classification. Some of the bigger private schools already do that. They're already up in there, but it would have had some impact here that failed. So LC, like I said, one of those could have been affected by it. So it's good that it failed, and they're here with us now. Also, schools that before they had, if you had a certain level of free and reduced lunch, you could opt down in classification, even though your numbers were up. That was voted, that's off the table now, that the amendment ended that, but you can still go through a process to opt down based on the needs of your district, and that would be considered in that appeal process there. So for example, Fort Vancouver High School down in Vancouver, they're a 2A school, but they compete at the 1A level based on some of those criteria. So there's a few schools that do that currently. And then one of the amendments that was passed was increased WIA fees with 10% increase. They asked for 25 last year, it got voted down. They went to 10 this year. I want to say it's been 7-8 years since they've increased their fees, but that was almost unanimous voting by the membership to go ahead and do that. So, and what we're looking at is probably going to be an increase of about $250 a year. So it's not, not a major thing, but it is an increase moving forward with that. Probably still trying to recover from their balances from the COVID situations. Okay. All right, perfect. Page one, only got 2 pages. Okay. Coaching wise, we just want to remember we have 39 high school coaches who are paid, 24 junior high coaches that are paid. One thing I will mention, we have 1, 2, 14 sports at the junior high level, and we have 8 or 16 at the high school level, boys and girls sports there. So looking at the coaches, we have numerous volunteers that help out, which is huge, especially since we, are limited with our budget with the coaching situation. This year we had a new head baseball coach, girls golf coach, boys soccer coach, and track coach. So the spring was a little bit chaotic to start with dealing with new coaches there. Working on, I presented to the superintendent, proposed coaching handbook. Waiting to see back there, something we have that we put together. And so looking at that where we have stuff laid out for the coaches as they're coming in, especially with the we're starting to get a little more turnover than we've had in the past. Northwest Conference is changing a little bit. Well, Sultan High School is now part of the Northwest Conference, which means that we currently have 4 3A schools in our conference, 8 2A schools, and 5 1A schools. We're a 1A school. It's going to change to how the scheduling is. So, and I'll just use us for example, 1A, we will play all the other 1As twice now in the sports like volleyball, basketball, baseball, soccer, softball. And then we will play the 1As and 3As will play each other and then we will play 1 or 2 2As based on competition level moving forward on that. So, and then that allows the 3As to try to get a lot of our 3As, they go through the West Coast for postseason stuff, allows them a little to do that, and then keeps us going with a home and away situation, which is going to be better for when we have like basketball games and such where, that rivalries that we've had will be a chance to have home and away each year doing that. So that's going to be a little bit of a change there. Not to try to overdo it, but like, for example, basketball has 20 game season. And so between the league games and the 3As, that's 12 games, and then 1 or 2 there. So let's go out still for 5 or 6 non-league games in those sports. Okay, so that's what that was approved by our body earlier this year. Moving on, equipment updates and the facility. Obviously there's some things that need to be done. And I know this is looking at that. One of the things that we discovered is we got a little bit of a hole in the track at the northeast end. So we're going to have to take a look at that. It might impact us.
Is that near in the area of the culvert?
It is near that area, but not quite.
It's not
a stick. It's just it's not what we had before. No. So that might impact our ability to host a track meet next year. So we got to look again at it. So we'll talk to Shannon about that. And then like the stuff that we got sort of going on in process there. And then let's see. Talking about athletic training and health, the health clinic we have on campus has helped with some physicals throughout the year. The kids that were able to, couldn't get it in time or, kind of forgot or whatever. We still have we did last year in the fall and the spring, and looking to do it again this spring, where Dr. Fox and Dr. Heiner come in and provide a night for kids to come get their physicals. Those have been very well attended. I want to say we've averaged probably about 40 kids coming in on those 2 nights to get that stuff taken care of. And then if something happens during, because I want to say the health clinic does them on Tuesdays, but if that doesn't quite work for the student or the family, Dr. Fox and Dr. Heiner come to the school on their own to take care of that with a couple physicals for kids to get that taken care of. Yeah. And so, that's pretty much all I got. If there's any questions, I'd be more than willing to have.
On the track, in the past, I think we used to host track events here.
Yeah, we did last year.
Okay.
This year, something wrong with the schedule. Next thing we know that I won't mention any names, but so we're gonna go to this one, go to that. Next thing we know, we were not hosting, we were supposed to.
Okay.
And we had to rally it out. We ended up going somewhere else that week. That's for the weekend or the week we had a dual meet with Blaine at their place.
Right.
But we have hosted. We had 2 junior high track meets here this year.
Okay.
But
Is there something about a track where we can do like a dual meet, but we couldn't do like a postseason meet?
Well, postseason, we just don't quite have the the stuff available that like that where we're having it now. But we can do regular in the regular season, we're more than able, like, for example, our javelin runway is grass. Most of them now are to like attract the synthetic, you know, for the runway there. We don't have that. That's one of the things, but that's one of the major things about having that for be able to host a district.
Right.
And then, but then we have the timing system, we have all the other stuff in place.
Right.
Ron, in our budget discussions, one of the items is under consideration is a change to the ASB fees. Do you have any information or kind of background on that?
Yeah, what would you like to know?
Was that?
What would you like?
Well, is that coming from you or where is this?
I wouldn't say for me directly, but I mean, just looking at trying to help with the situation that we're in. You know, prior to COVID, we had ASB plus pay to play fees, and we went away from the pay to play fees.
Yeah, we went through that last year.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, with but it's not going to be like a savior or anything like that, but it would help us some things. One of the things I've been in communication with the ASB is that, you know, and we've talked about this before, but for years and years, the ASB money went in, from ASB cards went in general and didn't come back necessarily to athletics. And so for those to go to them and say, hey, we might need a little help here and a little help there, then it seems reasonable if kids are paying that money for their card, that some of that money can come back to the sports programs. And one of the ones that for me right now, that would be a priority would be helping with uniforms, because we used to have a uniform rotation where we had no able to do that because of the cutbacks that we had with the general budget. So we haven't been able to offer that for the last year, where we had a rotation each year. Sports needs to be up to get that. We haven't been able to do that. So if we could help with that, you know, those kind of something like that. You know, we've asked for, you know, help with officiating fees at times. We didn't do that this year. So, but that's the thought process behind that, would help generate a little bit more. Some schools have lower ASB cards than we do. You know, obviously not our situation. I understand the Bellingham School District's going to go to kids paying $100 to play a sport. Yeah, it's a free sport that they do free season. So some of the other schools have ASB card, plus they have a fee for football and track, or kind of two of the more expensive sports for just because of the equipment and stuff. I think there are two districts currently or one district I know for sure in our county that does not charge ASB cards. Okay, one of them doesn't do ASB cards, but they do charge a activity fee to do something. So.
I do want to note that all ASB card money goes to ASB, but none of that's going to the general fund. So that was the past practice that we're not doing now. And the levy does pay for more than $500,000 that does go to athletics. Unfortunately, the majority of that goes to coaching salaries.
Right.
It's a big part of that, and transportation.
Any questions or comments, Debbie?
What is the number? Do we know the number of ASB cards we sell a year?
I had that number, but I did not have it for this presentation. And then obviously, if kids can't afford it, we help them out with that. You know, so I would say, obviously, if we have, we'll look at the numbers there, we would have, for athletic wise, we would have at the high school, we've had just over 200 people buying ASB cards. You know, drama, play, people give the ASB cards, and that money would go back kind of those, you know, would go and help with those programs. Also, part of that money would do that. I know, like at Blaine High School, ASB card, half of it goes into ASB general, and the other half goes to athletics when they pay for their ASB card. And one other thing I'd like to mention, I didn't have on here, I thought I did, but the Boost Club has been helpful, like, you know, some other outside sources, for a better use of word there. So like we got to pick up, we were in need of, we picked up a couple of javelins at the end of the year, some new starting blocks. They have not been as, we haven't gotten them with some stuff they did for us last year, but, you know, they have done a good job of helping, you know, what they can, you know, with athletics.
Any further questions? Thank you. We really appreciate the work you continue to do and the leadership you provide. So, thanks for coming here.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
So now we're at the public hearing for Title VI Indian Education. So I open the public hearing now. If there's anyone who wishes to address the board on our Title VI Indian Education program, you're welcome to come up. And seeing no one, I will close the hearing. And we have next is action, but did you have something you wanted to take care of before that?
Do I have permission to do that?
What's that?
Can we do that even though it's not on the agenda?
Yeah, let's just slip that in.
Okay. Yeah, why don't you go ahead?
It's actually on the agenda, but we're just sliding it in a little later.
Yeah, so first off, the members of the board and whoever here, I'm so sorry for coming in a little bit late. I was initially told that it was this meeting was gonna start at 7 o'clock, so I thought it was actually coming in early, but 1,000 apologies on our end. So good evening, my name is Anthony Gonzalez. I'm a member of Linden Ferndale International Lodge number 56. We're one of the 3 lodges that meet in Whatcom County, us being the first. And then the 2 other lodges, Bellingham Bay Lodge number 44 and Whatcom Lodge number 151, meet in Bellingham. And I have the good fortune today of presenting our Educator of the Year Award for an exceptional educator for the Mount Baker School District. It's our first year doing it in Mount Baker, so we're really excited to be participating. And thank you to the school district for allowing us to do this. And we look forward to doing it for many years to come. So just briefly, we believe that teaching is a very noble profession, and no good teacher looks for their own success, but they actually look for their students. They actually look out for their students' present and future in mind. As the saying goes, a good teacher is like a candle. It consumes itself to light the way for others. Being a teacher is more than just a profession, it's a vocation. The devotion and drive that is required and the natural ability to undertake this responsibility is truly admirable. I know for certain that everybody here remembers something that a teacher said and did for her. I speak from personal experience. When I was a younger lad many years ago, was this, had it not been for many of the teachers that were involved in my education, my path might have been a little bit different. So really, really appreciate that. So I hope that this small token of appreciation illustrates how fortunate we are, to have teachers here, and would like to thank you all for everything that you do for the children. So without further ado, I would just like to congratulate the 2026 Linden Ferndale International Lodge number 56 Educator of the Year for the Mount Baker School District, Keisha Geldard. So we just have a couple of things. Number one, we have a certificate that we would like to present to you. And again, had I come one time, this is presented to the superintendent for signature. And then secondly, we also have a perpetual plaque which we prepared. And as you can see, so it lists your name here, the name of the winner. And then, we pass it on to the school district, and I hope this is placed in a place of prominence within the school. And then lastly, we present something to you, and I hope this makes up for our tardiness. I hope it was worth the wait. I will leave you to open that. So yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, you can open it later or now. Yes, yes.
Maybe if you hold the plaque.
Okay. Yeah. Where?
Just right here.
Just right here? Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, so I will. Is this okay? Just
Yeah.
leave this over here.
Very much so.
All right. Thank you all.
Right.
Again, my apologies. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much for coming
Take
and
care.
for the recognition. Okay, so board action items, First is Mount Baker Resolution 252607, request for grade K-12 waiver of the minimum 180-day school year for 26-27, 27-28, and 28-29. So
Yes, this is a continuation of a waiver the district has had for at least the last 6 years. School districts by law are required to have either 180 school days and at least 1,027 instructional hours. And those instructional hours are the more important part of this than the days. So if a school district can guarantee those number of hours, they can apply for a waiver for fewer days. And so this is, some districts apply for up to 5 days even, and as long as they make the hours work out, they can. So our 2 days that we are asking for allow us to continue some of the teacher professional development days. So on the calendar in the past, these have been called waiver days. We're just naming them professional development days now. One of these will be before school starts, and the other will be in May of next year.
any questions?
I have a question. Did your previous school district have waiver days?
Yes.
Okay. It's pretty common?
It is. It's not uncommon. I mean, there's districts that certainly, if their instructional day is shorter, then they can't do this because to take a day away means they wouldn't meet the hours.
Okay.
So again, it's those hours that matter more than the actual number of days.
We've got professional development on Wednesdays.
Mhm.
And then we'll have a few waiver days. Is there a difference in the type of professional development that's happening on the late arrival Wednesdays versus these days?
The late arrival Wednesdays are more geared toward teacher collaboration time. The professional development days are more district directed in terms of the meeting the goals we have with the strategic plan and school improvement plan work. The state also has some requirements on social emotional learning and equity issues that we also address with these. I think one of the strongest equity pieces that we do in a school district is to look at data and look at who's achieving and who's not, and then using our time to address those gaps.
Okay, cool. I guess my thought is, from a parent perspective, we've got professional development happening, and I think I've said this before, it's just, we know there's good things happening then it's just how to market that and communicate that so people can see the value of late arrival Wednesday or waiver day and kind of connect that to good things that are happening.
I agree. When we were at the PAC meeting at the Nooksack tribe a couple weeks ago, that was one of the things that the parents there were very vocal about, is how much they dislike the late start Wednesdays and what a hardship those present. And so that was part of my message to them there, is we're going to do a better job of explaining why we're using that time.
Oh, sorry, when was this?
This was 2 weeks ago. What was the name of the meeting, in the PAC meeting with the tribe?
The Indian Parent Committee?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh. Thank you.
The importance of waiver day is we need to provide professional development. Waiver days allow us to do that within the salary year, as opposed to paying for an extra day outside the salary. So it otherwise it would be particularly in our current budget prohibitively expensive for we couldn't afford it. So I think it's for essential professional development, it's also essential that we do it with this mechanism so that it's affordable.
Are waiver days tied to professional development related to classroom teaching, or can it also be employee guidance or standards or state law kind of training, like mandatory reporting, for instance?
Yeah, and I think, well, what it needs in the application that's should be attached to this, I had to be very specific about what we're doing with that. And so whatever we do with that time needs to be tied to our strategic plan. Our strategic plan includes safety and belonging. And so that would be an appropriate use of that time.
Okay.
Any other questions? If not, entertain a motion to approve resolution, Mount Baker Resolution 252607.
Motion to approve Mount Baker Resolution 252607.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Passes. Next is Mount Baker Resolution 252608, transfer from Capital Projects Fund to General Fund. And we've already covered this, but go ahead.
I'm gonna actually let Katana speak to this one.
You're on mute. And
How about now?
okay, we can hear you.
Okay. As I mentioned before or earlier, we're requesting a transfer from our capital projects fund to our general fund. The amount being 500,000, which is what we've requested in previous years. And this is specifically for technology-related costs and major preventative maintenance repairs that are essentially capital purposes, but they function out of the general fund. So that's the gist of it.
And the impact of that is something that I believe at our June 11th meeting, I plan to have Shannon Richardson here, and we'll be doing a presentation about our capital projects fund and the projects that we are seeking board approval for as well. So more to come on that.
And absent this transfer, I would remind you that we were looking at the challenge of building back up our fund balance. These are our expenditures that are permissible, and if we for capital projects, if we paid for them out without the transfer, our fund balance would be this much lower, so 500,000 lower. So it's and it's actually more, in my mind, more accurate to pay for them out of the capital projects fund because they're more appropriately charged to that fund than to the operating fund, which is.
Yeah, I agree. I
on
think
the
we really want
classroom.
to focus on where we're expending the funds and what the use is. And I agree with what Russ just said. It also will have an impact on our cash flow if we don't transfer these funds in the next month.
Any further questions?
No, just a comment. So essentially this $500,000 is to pay for things we've already paid for that could have qualified to be paid for out of capital funds originally, but we paid them out of the general fund because you can spend that on anything. And so
Correct.
we are paying back the general fund money that it had spent that capital could have covered. Yes. Got it.
Any further questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve Mount Baker Resolution 252607.
Motion to approve Mount Baker Resolution 2526.
08.
Oh, 08.
I'm sorry. We approved 07. This is 08.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. So next up is Mount Baker Resolution 2526-9, additional reduced educational program. And
Yes, I did not think that I was going to be bringing this to the board as a needed resolution because the April 23rd meeting, there was already a resolution that was passed for the reduced educational program. On Monday, I received notice from our risk pool, as we talked about in our study session, that our rates are being increased by about $264,000. We've also, as early as today, we're getting word of other reductions in revenue that are also going to affect our budget. And so because tomorrow is the statutory deadline for any certificated reductions, we wanted to get this additional resolution in front of the board. The resolution states that basically everything I just said, that we did not know about some of these additional costs and revenue reductions when the first resolution was passed. And so we're asking for this additional one. Everything in that first resolution stands true. We're not changing anything from that. This is truly additional. And in this resolution, I'm asking the board to approve an additional 2 certificated FTE reductions and an additional 2 classified FTE reductions. With the certificated staff, we're working very closely with MBA this week, trying to identify, talking about seniority and talking about different things. And I can say that because of some other resignations that have also happened recently, that the actual reduction will be 1 speech and language pathologist position. I do not anticipate any additional certificated reductions at this point. We are meeting with PSE leadership tomorrow to talk about the classified reductions. There will still be more there, but we don't need to meet the May 15th deadline for that. So we'll be working over the next week or 2 to identify those positions.
Any questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve Mount Baker Resolution 25-26-9.
Motion to approve Mount Baker Resolution 25-26-9.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Policy review, Mount Baker Policy 5401 sick leave.
So I'm going to talk about 5401 sick leave and 5404 medical family and maternity leave in conjunction a little bit. The WASDA policy update for these brought these 2 together, and they are recommending the revisions to reduce the need for more frequent updates when leave laws change. And so the language is simplified a little bit so that we don't have to make those updates. So these model policies now reference the relevant laws and clarify that districts will follow them. The laws provide options, and the model policies have been structured to allow districts to choose what fits their best needs. And you'll notice in the sample language, I left that in there so that we can have a little bit of discussion about that. I think it's on the 5401. And then depending on the board's discussion, then maybe at the next meeting, we'll do the second reading for that. 5404 now includes the option for addressing whether to require employees to use paid leave while under the Family and Medical Leave Act to limit, and whether to limit family leave when both parents work for the district, and whether to require fitness for duty certification before an employee returns. And then I know it's not something the board is passing, but I talk about that also included the new policy for 5401. That's a completely new model policy. The biggest change that I see for us is that the law states that if an employee is gone for 3 or more consecutive days, we can require a doctor's note. Our previous policy and our current contracts all state 5. So I don't know whether or not, we'll have to talk with our labor partners to see if we change that contract language. Our contract language can be more permissive than what the law is, but I think it's important to get the policy in line with the law, because especially for employees that are not covered by those contracts.
So we can do the policy for 3 days. Would we word it 3 days unless otherwise specified?
We could, yes.
Through collective bargaining. So, questions, comments on either of these?
No, just it sounds like people know at the beginning of the year how much sick leave they have, and then they just go against that.
Yeah, and I think the legal reasoning for that is when an employer is front loading sick leave the way that school districts do, there is a little bit of expectation of being able to account for how it's being used.
I guess the difference is if somebody leaves mid-year, then we're out that amount since it's prepaid, or
no, it's not prepaid. It's put into their accounts as available to use. But if the only time you get to, I'll let you explain when I get to your leave with you.
So the leave is front loaded at the beginning of the school year. If somebody were to leave early, we do pull that back to what they actually accrue for that time period.
Okay.
So it's prorated then?
Right, prorated.
The used to be you get 1 day a month, right? And now you're just saying you get 12 days at the beginning of the year rather than wait to prove that. So somebody could potentially do 5 days the first month, where in the past they could only use one.
This is our current practice, is to front load.
Yeah.
That's how we've
Oh,
always
okay.
done it.
Okay.
That's not a change.
Okay.
Can I add one comment? Is that acceptable?
Sure.
Just also on that same note, because we do front load, if a person were to utilize all of their allocation and then they were to leave or not come back, we essentially are out those dollars because we can't get the money back. Just a additional piece to that.
Yeah.
On page 3 of 5404, there was a highlighted section where it says, insert how the district will use the time. In Mount Baker, we use the date that they first use FMLA. So when we get to second reading of that, I'll shore that up, but I wanted you to see what those options were. And then where in blue, where it says the use of unpaid leave, and it talks about the 3 different options there, those are our current practice as well. So. So unless there are issues with 5404, I would recommend that for first and final, or sorry, 5401, 5404. I'd like to hear any thoughts you have about optional language there, and then we will clean that up and have that ready for second reading next time.
So you want to do 5404 second? Wait until our next meeting for second reading, but 5401, we're ready for first and final. I'll entertain a motion to approve changes to Mount Baker policy 5401 for first and final reading.
Sorry. I just totally blanked my brain. A motion to approve Mount Baker policy 5401, first and final.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and then we will just accept Mount Baker policy 5404 for first reading, and then we will bring that up again probably next meeting. I will say for family and medical leave in Spain, birth of a child, both parents 6 weeks paid leave, and then each parent has 4 months of paid leave that they can take either concurrently, consecutively, whichever. So it's essentially the first year the baby's covered, one way or the other. So we're not quite there at this society, but they were lamenting because Norway has 2 years paid leaves. Yeah, upcoming events, regular meetings. So our next regular meeting is May 28th, and then the day after that, we have a school, I believe it's the Acme school visit on May 29th. And then, I see that down below. And then tomorrow, as you'll see down below the special meetings at 3 p.m., there's a reopening celebration at Van Sant Hall, so everyone is welcome. And I will remind you that Van Sant Hall was originally a school in the Mount Baker School District, and we still reserve reversionary rights on the property. So if it were ever to be not used for its current purpose, we would receive the property back. So we have some degree of property ownership or property rights in that property. But it's a great public celebration, and if you've driven by it, it looks beautiful from the outside. So get a chance to, everyone is encouraged to come. They can make it tomorrow at 3 p.m.
I'd like to know, I know it's not on the list, but I will likely be asking the board for another special meeting for a study session on the budget on June 11th at 5 o'clock. So if anybody has conflicts with that, let me know.
So that would be like a 5 p.m. again?
Yes. And that's just a few weeks away, really, a month, a little less than a month away, but we'll have some updated budget information by then for the board's review.
So we also, other events, we didn't have it on here, but we should make sure we have on our calendar graduation.
Yes. That is on oh gosh, I'm gonna mess everybody up, aren't I? That is on June 4th at 6:30 PM. Gates open at 5 o'clock PM.
Which day now?
June 4th.
June 4th. Okay. So that brings us to the end of our regular agenda. We have an executive session. Board will recess into executive session for 30 minutes to discuss the performance of a public employee and to discuss collective bargaining negotiations. No action will be taken following the executive session. And prior to executive session, we'll sign tonight's documents and then begin our executive session after that. So, thank you so much for coming tonight.